Well, Captain Cook has been renamed. Not too sure when, but I'm sure that even if it was just a few days ago, so somebody could have come along and returned his name to what it actually is. But that might be a reflection of how some people think about Captain Cook. Not perfect, of course. Certain controversy. Not as much as, say, Christopher Columbus, I have to admit. It's true, isn't it? There's a lot more, controversy with Christopher Columbus, who, of course, never actually set foot on what is today the USA. So Captain Cook, because he he played his part in the discovery of longitude, which, of course, was critical, right? Absolutely critical. You had to have latitude and longitude. You just did, and if you didn't, you ran the problem of when you were trying to get back to where you'd been before, somebody told you about, and you couldn't get there safely because of currents, because of pirates. There's all sorts of things, right? You needed latitude and longitude to get around that problem. And before Captain Cook played his part in the discovery of longitude, it was latitude only. And it's highly likely, in fact almost certain, that the Pilgrims were never actually intending to go to Massachusetts. They were probably almost certainly intending to go to Virginia, but they got blown off course or got caught in currents or whatever. And had they had both latitude and longitude, that probably would not have happened. So, sometimes history hangs on the merest of threads, I have to say. But anyway, here's the statue of Captain Cook. There's a statue of him in central London, which I've seen. There's one in Whitby, up in northeast England. Never seen that. That's one place I really should go. But another place where I've seen something like this is very similar, actually, because this is a replica of the original statue in Whitby, England. So I've seen something like this in New Zealand, and of course that might also be a replica. I'm not sure. But anyway, and I'll link to that video below, because when I was on the north shore of New Zealand, I went to a place that Captain Cook had visited, and I can't remember exactly where, but I'm guessing that was the first place in New Zealand that he dropped anchor, because the plaque there said something about him discovering New Zealand, which of course wasn't actually true. I mean, there were other people there before him, and the same here actually. And I'll just walk you over. This, by the way, this road, this is 50, and westbound is straight ahead, and we've just come from behind us east. But look at this, 1778 to 1928, to commemorate the discovery of the Hawaiian Islands. Of course, it was the Polynesians who, I don't know if anyone knows the exact date when they set foot on these islands, but it was a good few hundred years before, maybe even 1,000 years before. Because interesting, and this is fascinating, is that when Captain Cook and his crew landed here on Kauai, they were able to converse with the local people. Now, how is that possible, you think? Okay, well, Captain Cook and his crew had been to the Tahitian Islands before, become familiar with that language, and when they came here, they were able to converse with the locals. And that's, of course, there's linguistic proofs as to how people have migrated, and there was no question that helped contribute the fact that the people who had first discovered Hawaii must have come from that Tahiti area. I don't know if anyone knows precisely, because of the linguistic similarities. Anyway, so here we go. Captain James Cook, RN, Royal Navy, not registered nurse, as Liza says, who made his first landing at Waimea on the island of Kauai, January 20, 1778. And of course, he was the first European to set foot on these islands, and within a few years, it had become the existence of these islands had become general knowledge, and for better or worse, things happened after that. But I should say that, part of the Hawaiian flag. Let's see if I can see one around here. There's a flag when you're looking for one. Can't see any flags actually. Interesting. But of course, the top left-hand corner of the Hawaiian flag does have the Union flag, which is, if you like, because of the British influence, and they've kept it on their flag. So even though Hawaii is a state of the USA, the Union flag is part of the Hawaiian flag, and that's of course a nod to the history. And I have to admit, from the people I've spoken with, they have fonder memories, if you like, of Britain, or at least Captain Cook's time and what he did, than say the USA did 115 years later. Yes. Anyway, so here's a plaque. Needs a bit of retouching up, I think. Anyway, but there you go. And I say that we just come from that. We just come from the east, and so this, as you can see, is right on the road itself. There's a couple of other places around here apparently that have got something to do with Captain Cook. I'm not sure if anyone knows the precise beach where he set foot on. Something tells me over there that there's a Russian fort over there as well. Odd, isn't it? Anyway, how about this? So yeah, check out the link below for when I was in a similar location to this historically, when I was on the north shore of New Zealand. And I said before about all these roosters and hens that are all over, not just Maui, but clearly here as well. And say nobody owns them. They're just wandering around doing their rooster and hen thing. Well, that's a bridge over the river Waimea. There's a pan around to the right. There you see the river joining the Pacific Ocean. And I actually thought there was a plaque around here somewhere saying that it was this spot that, Captain Cook actually set foot. I mean, how would anyone know anyway, right? I mean, and in a way, of course, it doesn't matter, does it? I mean, obviously he didn't set foot in that park, because it wasn't next to the water. But anyway, yeah, so it's more likely somewhere around here, of course. But I say it doesn't matter. We're actually looking for a plaque. But and I actually thought I saw it online somewhere that this was the point where Captain Cook landed and his ships were anchored out there. I mean, they had to be anchored somewhere, so I suppose this is as good as anywhere else. Maybe this is more interesting, actually, seeing there's some canoe club here, actually. Check this thing out. Look at that. That is cool, isn't it? That is cool. Apparently there's a few homeless people that sleep around here. There's a tent there. Yeah, so we've seen that, not just here, but certainly in Maui, and apparently in Honolulu as well. Plenty of homeless people. But, there we go. So once upon a time, I'm guessing that Captain Cook's ships were anchored out there, and they came ashore in their longboats, were met on this beach by locals who said, "Welcome to," what did they say? But it was interesting, isn't it, that Captain Cook and his crew were able to converse with the people because of their knowledge of Tahitian, having spent time in Tahiti. So when they came here, and the fact that these people were able to speak Tahitian or whatever, there may have been a slight dialect, I suppose, but it's a linguistic clue, isn't it? And there are people that specialize in this sort of stuff, seeing how words of languages are connected. There's a reason for certain things, right? And there's a lot of linguistic clues that help put together that jigsaw of trying to figure stuff out. But anyway, right, very good, very good, very good, very good. See ya. Well, we walked back a different way than what we walked to the beach, was just as well. I always recommend that, actually. If you can walk back different ways than what you went somewhere, then, you know, walk back a different way. And this is what we did, and we found this. This is just about not just the captain, the probable Captain Cook landing space just down there, but just over there on the other side of the river. The river's just there, you can't actually see it, it's just behind those 2 trees. And you see where there's like a bit of a hill up there. Well, just beyond that there is, it's called the Russian Fort. It wasn't used for like military purposes, who knows, maybe it would have been. But anyway, it's called the Russian Fort, it's just over there. I mean, it's just kind of like the foundations now. But before, I was looking for a flag, and there's one. There's a Hawaiian flag, and sometimes you actually see the flag itself upside down. But this time the flag is at half-mast, and the same, the one over there as well, there's the Stars and Stripes there. So both those flags are at half-mast, but at least the Hawaiian one is the right way up. Because, as I'm sure you probably know, you know, when a flag is deliberately put upside down, it's normally a sign of distress. And there are reasons why many people deliberately fly their Hawaiian flags upside down. But it's probably not for this video.